What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Top Chill Play. The rule in anime fandom is that the manga is always better, the original is always purer, the adaptation always loses something. Today, we are here to challenge that rule completely. These are the 10 anime that took their source material and did something the original could not. Better pacing, better music, better animation, better emotional impact. In every case on this list, if you have only read the manga, you are missing the best version of the story. This one is going to generate some debate in the comments. Good, let us get into it. Coming in at number 10, Trigun. The original manga by Yasuhiro Naitao is a beloved classic, but the 1998 anime took the core character of Vash the Stampede and gave him a tonal balance the manga never quite achieved. The anime spends its first half as a light-hearted Western comedy, letting you fall in love with Vash before systematically dismantling the cheerful surface to reveal what is underneath. That tonal shift lands harder in the anime because of how deliberately it was constructed. The pacing of the anime is more controlled, the humor lands more consistently, and the emotional gut punches hit deeper because the setup was so carefully laid. Vash as a character feels more complete on screen than on the page. The manga eventually went in a longer, more chaotic direction. The anime tells a tighter story and sticks the landing in a way that the source material, great as it is, never fully managed. Trigun is one of the rare cases where the adaptation understood the character better than the original. A genuine improvement on an already great foundation. Number 9 is Pong the Animation. The manga by Taiyo Matsumoto is a masterpiece of visual storytelling. The anime by Masaaki Yuasa is somehow better. Yuasa took Matsumoto's scratchy, expressive art style and turned it into something that moves. The animation does not try to clean up the roughness, it amplifies it. Every sequence has a kinetic, almost feverish energy that static pages cannot replicate. The sound design and music in the anime add an entire emotional dimension that the manga cannot access. The matches feel like performances. The silence between rallies carries weight. The roar of the crowd hits you physically. Pong the Animation is one of the most complete artistic achievements in anime history, and a large part of what makes it that is the translation from one medium to another. Yuasa did not adapt the manga. He transformed it. Pong the Animation is the answer to anyone who says anime adaptations always lose something. Sometimes they gain everything. Number 8 is Fullmetal Alchemist, Brotherhood. This is a faithful adaptation of the manga, but the anime elevates the source material through everything it adds. The score by Akira Senju is one of the greatest anime soundtracks ever composed. Music this good does not exist in the manga. The emotional peaks of the story hit harder because of what is playing underneath them. The voice acting, particularly in the Japanese dub, gives every character a presence and dimension that reading them on the page cannot fully replicate. Roy Mustang's breakdown in the rain is one thing in the manga. In the anime, with Fumiko Orikasa and the score working together, it is a different experience entirely. The pacing of the adaptation is also tighter than the manga in key places. Certain arcs that feel slightly drawn out on the page move with better rhythm in the anime. Brotherhood took a great manga and made it into something that feels definitive. Brotherhood is the rare adaptation that feels like the version of the story it was always meant to be. Number 7 is Mob Psycho 100. One's original webcomic is drawn in a deliberately crude style that makes its emotional sincerity even more surprising. The anime by Studio Bones took that sincerity and built something extraordinary around it. The animation team used the simplicity of one's art as a license to go completely wild with motion and color. Since the source is not a polished visual work, they were free to invent their own visual language. The result is one of the most creative action anime ever made. The sound design and music transform scenes that are quiet on the page into deeply moving experiences. The Mob 100% sequences are explosions of visual creativity that the webcomic, by its own nature, could never replicate. The anime also gives the quieter emotional moments more room to breathe. Mob's relationships with the people around him feel warmer and more developed on screen. The adaptation understood what the story was really about and made sure that the audience felt it. Mob Psycho 100 is the story one wrote made into the show it deserved to be. Every season is better than the last. Number 6 is Neon Genesis Evangelion. There is a manga adaptation by Yoshiyuki Sadamoto that is beautifully drawn and worth reading. The anime is in a completely different category. Evangelion as an anime is inseparable from its production circumstances. The budget running out, Hideaki Anno's mental health crisis bleeding into the final episodes, the strange stream of consciousness last 2 episodes that broke the entire anime community in 1996. None of that exists in the manga. The manga is a cleaner, more conventional telling of the same story. It answers questions the anime refuses to answer. And in doing so, it loses everything that made Evangelion matter. The anime's chaos, its unresolved contradictions, its refusal to give the audience what it expects, these are not flaws. They are the point. Evangelion changed anime history precisely because it broke the rules. The manga is a great comic. The anime is a cultural event. Evangelion the anime is a singular artifact that could only exist because of the specific conditions that produced it. Nothing can replicate it, including its own source. Number 5 is Demon Slayer. The manga by Koyaharu Gotouge is a good shonen. The anime by Ufotable is something else entirely. Gotouge is a strong storyteller and a decent artist, but the manga's visual style is not polished. The character designs are appealing, but the action pages do not convey the same kinetic energy as the anime. On the page, the breathing techniques are interesting concepts. On screen, they are visual spectacles. Ufotable's contribution to Demon Slayer cannot be overstated. The studio invented a new animation language for this franchise, combining hand-drawn and digital techniques in a way that makes every major fight look like a film. The anime made Demon Slayer one of the highest-grossing franchises in history. The manga alone would not have done that. The emotional moments also land harder in the anime. Tanjiro's determination, Rengoku's final moments, Zenitsu's awakening, every key beat is elevated by the voice performances, the score, and the animation quality working together. Demon Slayer is the clearest example in modern anime of a production studio transforming a good story into a phenomenon. Ufotable deserves as much credit as the original creator. Number 4 is Vinland Saga. Makoto Yukimura's manga is one of the greatest comics being published today. The anime adaptations of the first 2 arcs are better. Wit Studios' adaptation of the prologue and war arc brought a visual grandeur to the Viking world that the manga, despite its excellent art, could not fully achieve. The battle sequences have scale and momentum that page-by-page storytelling struggles to convey. The farm arc in Season 2, handled by MAPPA, is where the anime surpasses the source most clearly. The pacing is tighter, certain scenes are expanded in ways that deepen the emotional impact, and the score by Yutaka Yamada gives the quietest moments an almost unbearable beauty. Thorfinn's breakdown scene in Season 2 is one of the most powerful moments in recent anime. In the manga, it is moving. In the anime, with the voice performance and the music, it is devastating in a way that few scenes in any medium can match. Vinland Saga on screen is proof that the right studio with the right material can create something that transcends its source. Number 3 is Cowboy Bebop. There is a manga adaptation that most people do not know exists. Almost no one talks about it for good reason. The anime is one of the greatest works of art the medium has ever produced. Cowboy Bebop exists as an anime first and completely. The jazz soundtrack by Yoko Kanno and the Seatbelts is not a companion to the story, it is inseparable from it. Every episode is structured like a musical composition. The manga cannot access any of that. The direction by Shinichiro Watanabe gives the show a cinematic grammar that draws from film noir, westerns, martial arts movies, and jazz performance simultaneously. Each episode feels like a short film from a different genre. That is a director's achievement, not a manga artist's. Spike Spiegel exists fully only in motion and sound. His fighting style, his silences, the way he moves through a scene, these things live in the animation and the voice performance. On the page, he is a sketch of a character. On screen, he is one of the most iconic figures in all of fiction. Cowboy Bebop is the anime. The manga is a footnote. The real thing is on screen, and it is timeless. Number 2 is Fruits Basket 2019. The manga by Natsuki Takaya is a genuine classic of the shoujo genre. The 2019 complete adaptation is the version of the story that manga fans had been waiting for since the original ended. The first anime adaptation, from 2001, only covered part of the manga and ended without resolution. The 2019 series adapted the complete story across 3 seasons with modern animation quality and a voice cast that elevated every major emotional moment. The transformation sequences, the Zodiac backstories, the final arc that the original anime never reached, everything that makes Fruits Basket one of the most emotionally complete romance stories in manga form is present and enhanced in the 2019 anime. Kyo and Toru's relationship builds across 3 full seasons with extraordinary patience and care. The finale earned every tear shed over its course. This is the definitive version of a masterpiece, and it only exists in the anime. Fruits Basket 2019 is what happens when a beloved manga finally gets the complete, faithful, beautifully produced adaptation it always deserved. And the number 1 anime that is better than the manga is Jujutsu Kaisen. This is the strongest possible argument for what a great production studio can do to already excellent source material. Gege Akutami's manga is extraordinary. The power system is creative, the characters are compelling, and the story takes risks that most mainstream shonen would never attempt. The manga is genuinely great. And MAPPA made it better. The Gojo vs Toji fight in the prequel arc is a perfect example. On the page, it is an excellent sequence. In the anime, it is a once-in-a-generation piece of action animation. The movement, the color, the music, the editing, MAPPA animated that fight like they were making a film, not a TV episode. Every major fight in JJK has been elevated this way. The voice performances add depth to characters that the manga presents more economically. The sound design makes curses feel genuinely terrifying. And the score gives every emotional beat exactly the weight it needs. Jujutsu Kaisen the anime is not just better than the manga, it is one of the best action anime ever made. Jujutsu Kaisen is the gold standard for manga adaptation in modern anime. MAPPA took something great and made it legendary. And that is our top 10 anime that are better than the manga. Do you agree? Is there one we missed that should have been here? Drop it in the comments. The debate starts now. If this video made you think, hit the like button and subscribe to Top Chill Play for weekly anime rankings. I will see you in the next one.